I'm sharing it with you, Janet. You should already have it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get tonight's meeting underway. We'll begin with the public hearing portion of our meeting. So item one, the compensation schedule for municipal appointed statutory and elected officials. I was noticing in the materials that on the written materials, they're all empty. And so I was thinking that this is probably sort of like signing a blank check, and then Jody can fill this in at whatever percentage she sees as appropriate. I kid. It's supposed to read
Aaron's over there
threes.
dying inside.
On the cost of living adjustment, it's supposed to read a 3% increase all the way down, and then merit-based is a 1% increase all the way down, totaling up to a 4% compensation raise.
And Mayor, I didn't see anything on there for council members, but there's no raise for council members this year.
Yeah.
Oh, just dig it in.
Just want the public to know that that's not on.
Any years,
Or any
never,
years.
ever, any years, there's never one for council.
And a percentage would be moot anyhow.
I mean,
4%
that's the way
increase.
I kind of see it. Well, but we are, I know that as far as mayors go, I think I am the lowest paid mayor in the state. So I
I'm
wear
not
that as a
surprised.
badge of honor. So,
Wow.
yeah. All right. So do we have any public comment with respect to that? Anything from the council?
No,
Okay.
I asked Jody about it earlier today, so.
All right. Well, with that, we will close the public hearing portion then and move on to the work session. So that would actually be item 2 also. Item 3, request for a change in the zoning from R12 to R119 for a 9.1 acre parcel of land located at 410 South Woodland Hills Drive. Wayne, are you taking the lead on this, or do we? Okay, hi, welcome. I don't know who you are, but come on up, and if you have anything that you'd like to address the council with, this is your parcel then?
Yes, correct.
You can actually sit here. It's fine too,
Yep,
yeah.
Just turn that mic on.
If the
If you would,
light's
please.
on, then it's good.
Perfect.
So can you just give us kind of an idea of what you're looking for beyond, if there is anything beyond what I just read?
Sure. Yeah, basically, very similar to what you said. Looking to develop that 9-acre piece. I think the only thing to note is the reason we're trying to get from the R1 to the R119 is mostly just from the increase of the road, trying to maintain the same feel of the R1. I mean, the concept plan, I think we're average like a 0.9, just over a 0.9 acre lot. So really, I mean, because of the extension of the road, the setbacks of the current property, had to adjust a few things. Half the lots are over an acre. So trying to get that same feel, but because of some of those adjustments, we're trying to get it to that R119.
Okay, great. And Planning Commission, any comment from you guys?
There's one issue that I'd like to recommend as this goes forward. And correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't purchased it yet, but you've got a conditional purchase for it.
Yeah, in our due diligence, closing is the end of
Okay. So they're not the actual owners of the property yet. But I would like to, it's a little unusual because if as we look at this, we're going to be potentially rezoning something that doesn't belong to them. So I think if we put it in a contingency thing, and I don't know how your agreement is worded with the seller of it, but if that's addressed in there, if we can get a copy of that. Otherwise, if we need something from the current seller that's in agreement to rezoning his property with anticipation of you acquiring it.
There's no contingencies in my contract with them that contingent upon this approval. So that it's not contingent on this meeting or anything, but I'm sure that speaking with the seller and his agent, I'm sure we could get something.
Okay.
Or when,
that
are
was-
you
that's
talking a
the-
contingency as far as the council's approval of this, that it's contingent on the sale going through, or are you,
Yes, that would be, the zoning would be potentially contingent upon them acquiring the property. So, and since they're not the owners of the property yet, I think it just covers us too, to get approval from the owners, current owners, that they're not objecting to this rezone proposal.
yeah, no, I think that we would definitely want to make sure that the actual owners are on board before
Yeah.
any zoning change.
So that would be the only thing that
So what I'm seeing in the agenda is that what we're voting on, a referral of that request. So it's not actually the rezoning. It's just sending it to planning commission.
We'll start the you're
That's
starting
true.
the process.
Yes.
And
So we're
once
not
we
actually
have that-
rezoning it now, but by
Correct.
the time we would come back around to do that, you would own the property.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, Doral?
Wayne, I have a question for you.
Sure.
If we zoned it R119, how many lots could legally be put in that space?
The plan is, the concept plan that they provided to us shows what?
Eight.
Plus the
Lots.
current,
Eight.
the current home. Yeah.
Plus, yeah, for the current home.
Okay, I agree with that, and that's not bothersome to me so much, but if they could put 12 or 14, because it's R119,
That's his question.
that's my question. I would rather somehow keep it contingent on 8.
And we can do that.
Okay,
In the,
okay.
in the approval process.
Okay.
Go through that. And that's something that they want as well.
Okay,
So
I
that's
feel good about
one of the
that.
R119s is they're not going to reduce it below, I think the smallest lot is 0.7 something acre in there.
Okay.
So,
And we had talked about that in prior meetings to put that with the approval that
Perfect.
this maintains on it. Because
Okay.
there is a few lots that someone potentially could split down the road, but we talked about that in that.
Okay.
maintaining.
Thank you.
Has the notification process happened for all neighboring lots?
not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
But once it comes to us from you, then, because we'll have to have a public hearing on the rezone. So that would let the surrounding property owners be aware of that public hearing as the planning commission needs to discuss it.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Great, okay. If there are no further questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4, a Three Bridges update. Larry, welcome, and please step forward.
Thank you and good evening. Good to be back with you. This is just kind of an update, and also if there are residents here who have questions, I'd be happy to answer those if this is an appropriate venue for that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. I think that
Okay.
if there's specific questions, we could try to tackle them here.
So just an update on several things that we've talked about before, but we haven't come to conclusions about and haven't made any decisions. So just to let you know where we are in a couple of things. First, before I get to that, there is a rumor I've heard that the big dirt pile on Woodland Hills Drive is permanent. I keep hearing that, and it's not permanent. Those are that's the gravel that came out of the pond that we dug. We took out approximately 220,000 cubic yards, and that actually is some of the best gravel in the valley. It's beautiful stuff, and so we're going to have a crushing operation, and we'll be crushing in different sizes and washing and sorting, and we'll be using all of that gravel to go back into to fill when we put in pipes, sewer watered, pressurized irrigation, and in fact we'll be digging about a 14,000 lineal foot sewer pipe from the north end of our property all the way to Salem's expanding sewer plant. And so we're going to be using a lot for that. Also, we can use it for road base. And so that place was a convenient place to store it temporarily, but the pile will be gone, and it will no longer be an eyesore once we start redistributing it back into these various components of the project.
Do you
So-
have any timeline on when you think it might be sort of
Yes.
reassimilated?
Yeah, we'll be starting to draw on that pile, crush and sort and draw on the pile probably in the next 3 months. We'll probably stop for the winter,
Sure.
but then pick up again in the spring. I don't know how long it will take to absorb the whole thing. We have another pile that's further east on the property. I'm sure you've seen that as well, and that's topsoil. And again, that's temporary too. We'll be using it in landscaping for the project itself, but we'll also be using it to selling it to local people, nurseries, landscape companies, because it's wonderful. We had it tested at BYU's lab for soil, and it requires very little by way of fertilizer in someone's garden or in landscaping settings. I had another project in Heber. We trucked 32 truckloads up there to that project. It's just wonderful stuff. So neither pile will be permanent, and we strive to meet all of OSHA's standards for slope and danger and management. And I hope we can continue to do the job that you would like as our neighbor. We don't want it to cause problems, but if there are issues, please let us know, and we'll try to address them quickly. Yes.
Do you see leaving a little bit of elevation there because it's kind of a hole, to begin with? Do you see some of that staying?
I don't see it. In fact, the
Really?
fact that it's a hole is partly why we bought it. The county asked us to deal with the stormwater runoff that goes through that gully up against the road and crosses under the road and causes problems downstream. They get a lot of complaints from neighbors whose basements occasionally get flooded. And so we'll be managing that as a part of our stormwater management in the project. But that is a critical part right there of detention and
Kind of a collection area?
uh-huh.
That's
yeah.
our water, so, yeah.
Some of it's your water, yes. So, yes.
Talk to that. That's good.
Quite a bit of it actually,
Yeah.
but that's another issue. But I think we can work together and manage that well over the coming years. Any other questions about the dirt pile?
Just get a lot of complaints about the dust.
Yeah, we've doubled the dust containment, the dust management trucks that water down things. We are building a golf course right now, so the area of dust spread opportunities is getting bigger, and it will get worse before it gets better. And so we continue to add more watering trucks. That's the nature of construction, and we're going to do the best we can to keep it down. Depending on weather and how hot it gets and how fast our watering efforts dry up and wind and whatnot. It's going to be easier on some days and harder on some days. Again, when we get reports of that from people, including people that are citizens of Woodland Hills, we try to address it very quickly. I don't imagine it's ever going to be perfect while we're under construction, but we strive to do what we can to keep that dust down.
Okay.
Um,
Anybody? I'm just going to kind of
Sure.
make this open forum if there's anybody that has any comments about the dust, but I know you've got probably additional points to make. So.
yeah, we can go through some of the things we've talked about in the past.
Okay.
and-
All right.
I'm
Let's,
happy to.
let's forge ahead then. It doesn't
Okay.
look like there's anybody that's chomping at the bit.
Okay, great. So we presented 6 items. A couple were added by the council. So I just go through them really quickly. One was a roundabout upgrade and access. So the county, they can't require us to do this, and they're not requiring it, but they requested that we come off of the roundabout and go eastward onto our property, and that be the access. The access we have already on Woodland Hills Drive is further north, and it goes right between Candace and Scott Parker's place and the Trotters on the other side, and Brockbanks. And so that's not ideal. The county would prefer we go off the roundabout. So that started a conversation that we have been having about the roundabout. We understand that they're going to take care of it in the upcoming season. I think they're going to do a facelift or a minor.
I know Ted's got an
Better.
update on it. I don't know the exact timeline, but
Yeah, talking with the county, they're working right now on doing some, talking to some engineers about putting some plans together to do a
essentially to do kind of an upgrade to the roundabout facelift is what they're calling it. So it's going to be more than just fixing the damage. They're working on that over this winter and could be starting the project possibly next summer, spring, somewhere around there, if everything goes as planned. It's part of, I think, of a transportation plan because they're talking about some additional work the county will be doing down Woodland Hills Drive between here and 198. So this will be one of a couple of things, and they want to do them all at once because it's probably going to shut down Woodland Hills Drive or at least impact it with construction. So they were waiting to get Loafer Canyon Road and Loafer Belt, what do they call it? Nebo Loop. Nebo Loop opened before they start on Woodland Hills Drive. So they're going to work this winter on some plans for Woodland Hills Drive and possibly next year start on those plans, which will be, like I said, more than just a roundabout, but will include a roundabout.
Okay. So there's our
So,
update.
yeah, so we'll be getting with them, with the county and doing this. And part of our discussion, of course, with you, with Woodland Hills is that we would have to cross over land that you own, right? The land that you have your mailboxes and that parking and drive area. So we've submitted a couple of plans and we've gotten some feedback from Ted and from others, and we'll continue to come back with updates of the plan. And when we feel good about it, we'll get it over to the county and see if they can incorporate that as one of the options that they're looking at. That was the first item that we had talked about before, was the roundabout and our accessing off of the roundabout and basically rebuilding your mailboxes. I think they're inadequate now, given the numbers of people who built since the mailboxes came in. So as a part of our coming off of the roundabout and kind of expanding that area, we would replace your mailboxes, upgrade them. So, good question. We haven't had that discussion yet with the U.S. Postal Service. I suspect it's going to be in nodes throughout our neighborhoods rather than one spot. So at one point we talked about joining with you, but I don't think there's room there, and it might form congestion to have two cities getting their mailbox or two developments. So I think that one's not happening, but I don't know. We might come off of 1280 on our north end and have a spot where mail is distributed. To be determined, actually. So I don't have an answer to the question yet. Salt shed, we talked about helping you upgrade your salt shed and also taking some of the space for some of our staging of equipment. We don't have a plan for that to propose. It's just something that's on the list of things to talk to you. We've tried to buy other land to replace your salt shed, to move it nearby. It needs to be down at the bottom of the hill. And so we've been looking around and talking to landowners, but haven't come up with anything. So we're not quite sure what our proposal will be on this, but we'll try to have that for you the next time we come and talk about it. Third item was residential density. We've bought a parcel, that flat part basically where the pile is right now, right down by the road. And so we were looking at putting residential density. If we keep it in Woodland Hills and don't annex it into Salem, we would need to work something out with you in terms of density of a real estate project, of a residential project. If we move it into Salem, annex it into Salem, it would become a part of our project, the Three Bridges project. So that's still to be determined. We haven't made efforts in that direction to annex it yet. We're going to keep it in this discussion until we reach some resolution that is a win-win for all of us. And if we can't reach that, then we'll look at that as an alternative. But I think it's in your city, and we'd like to keep it there and work something out as a part of a universal agreement that deals with all of these issues that we're talking about. Number 4, we talked about a transient tax share. We're going to have a hotel component in the project. Not a big building hotel, not a big block building, but a series of small bungalow type things that are facing the golf course along the way. And so that's what Salem City Council wanted. They didn't want a big, huge, ominous building. none of us did, I think, including Woodland Hills. That would be quite a dominating site. I think the only thing worse would be big windmills or something, you know. So, or a dirt pile, or a dirt pile.
Sorry.
I probably deserve that. So the thought was, if we work something with you and put some density on that 11-acre piece, that we would also work some of our transient tax that we get from the hotel. Not that we would take it away from Salem, because it's going to Salem, but we take a percentage of that, calculate it, and pay it to you over time. So that was one way of compensating for some density if the 11 acres stays in Woodland Hills. Stormwater runoff from Woodland Hills. This is the stuff that we have to handle. Some of it's historic flow, and so, you know, you don't have to change it. Some of it is kind of an artifact of your development, roads, driveways, different impervious things that runoff happens, and it's not natural. So I think we've looked at it, you've looked at it, we've looked at it. I think you came up with it's going to cost you around $200,000 to manage that on site, and our engineers came up with a higher amount, but we're proposing that as a part of this overall agreement on all of these points that we would hope to reach with you in the near term, that we would handle the runoff. And you don't have to pay for managing it. We could work it into our overall storm water detention plan, which is being handled. A lot of it is handled in the 5 or so holes in the alluvial fan, the flat part where your water comes right down into it. It's also debris from the canyon has made that a flat area over the centuries. And so we think we can work that into our plan. 6th item was water capacity for Three Bridges. It's been a very interesting journey on the water because the Salem well went down, as you know. The casing failed. They had to replace the casing in a way that may not have a long-term solution to it. We'll see what happens on that. But much of our water comes from that. And then you have a well, higher, of course, in your city that you've just changed out your pump and you're testing what kind of capacity you have on that. And so there will be a time during which we don't yet have a tank built on the north end of our project, which would take all of the people that are down below us in Salem off of that Maple Canyon tank, because we would pump up from another source to that tank in the north end of our property, and that tank would service all of the Salem citizens who are now drawing off of that Maple Canyon tank. So that would, when that happens and how much we need based on how fast our development is moving, there may be a discussion that we would like to have with you about how we can take some of your water capacity that you don't yet need for the time when we need it but haven't built that other tank yet. And so big question whether the timing works out for everyone to be satisfied and to not put Woodland Hills at risk for the water that you need. Obviously, you can't jeopardize that. And so those are the questions. We're working very closely with Ted on this to make sure that we're even on the right path in even considering something like that. I think it's to be determined that Salem's well in Maple Canyon is now pumping just fine. They're getting the same capacity, even a little more than they used to get before they fixed their casing. How much capacity you will have is being determined now. Now that your new pump is in, and that capacity of the pump versus the drawdown of the aquifer, and all of those questions you guys are working through now, and that information will kind of feed into our discussions. But I just think it's premature to have those discussions until we get that information. Ted, I don't know what your timing is. What, you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I've been pick a day where I have running tests every hour, 24 hours. So hopefully that happens within the next week, and we'll have a new certified operator talk to the hydrogeologist, help us drill the well originally today. Figure out how much more pump capacity we have and certify it with the state for higher pump capacity. So I hope.
As we've discussed this with Ted and our engineers, Hanson Allen and Luce is the engineer that's been representing Salem and Woodland Hills. And we've been asking a bunch of questions. And so I think there are more calculations to come, but Ted's been wonderful to safeguard your needs. And he's been very clear about that. We're just looking to see if there's a win-win there that will not jeopardize what it is that you need as a city. There was another item was added, and that was fiber. You've got some great options, and we're still looking at that. It's a little premature for us to look at the fiber provider, internet provider. So we'll have an ongoing discussion about that. And then a service agreement for snow removal is a potential. We'd like to talk to you. There may be some benefits to you and to us to have that provided by you rather than Salem, just because of the proximity. And you have more experience in mountain snow clearing than they
We
do.
do a better job.
Yeah, that's right. I keep hearing that, so we're open to that.
We're also very confident.
No.
Well, I think these things all warrant more discussion. Just wanted to make you aware of the main thing that seems to be holding up kind of going forward and going through all of these issues in a serious decision-making manner, right, is kind of the water. The water is one of the main things. But our main goal is to be a good neighbor. I think we can get through our project without dealing with Woodland Hills and any of these if we need to. I think there would be some benefit for us to work with you. I think you're going to be just fine without us doing anything to help you or to compensate or whatever, but you would benefit if we could do those things. And so it seems to be a good mutual benefit opportunity in these things. So we'd like to keep talking about them and see what happens in the coming couple of weeks and maybe come back later in August and have a more serious discussion. We would write up proposals that are specific on these issues and hand them to you in advance. And I would hope that the public would be invited and we'd be able to be very transparent about what it is we're proposing and make sure that everyone has a voice. And, make sure that there's no rumors like the dirt pile is permanent or some such thing. So with that, I'll open up to any questions that you have or anyone here has that I could help with.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's start with the council. Anybody have anything for Larry? Okay. We're left silent. Okay, we've got a few here. So we want to make sure that you speak into the microphone. So we'll just go this way and then Sherry will finish up with you. So Mark, have at him.
So you'd mentioned water situation about working with Woodland Hills potentially for some water. We only provide culinary water, as I'm sure we're all aware. Are you looking at pressurized irrigation of any sort for like the lake and the golf course, or have you worked through that yet?
We're working through that with Salem. There will be pressurized irrigation for the residences. There's no question about that. Don't know exactly how we're going to get the golf course, whether it's going to go through the PI system or whether it's going to come directly to the golf course. There's some negotiations yet to happen with the city of Salem. Yes, we do have enough water shares, enough water rights to do it, but the source is the issue. We have to make sure, and that's why the main thing we're doing is there's a lot of pressure on that Maple Canyon well, as you know. You have 40% of it as a city, and 60% goes downhill to Salem. We have some rights to that water, but there's a negotiation with Salem City that we have to look at. So the main thing that we're doing is we're adding a tank, and if I had a map, I'd show you this, but it's on the bench on the north side of our property. Not quite 1280 east or 1280 south. And that would service the lower portion of the committee, but more importantly, it would draw water from a well that is further down the hill, and we pump it back up to that tank. And that tank would service all of the people that are now downhill from us, but they're drawing from Maple Canyon right now. So that would open up a lot of capacity in that well for our project, for the upper portion. So all of this has been, we've spent hours and hours and hours working with Hanson Allen Luce, Salem City. Ted's been a part of the conversations. So I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, and we won't be taxing your well or your tank. But what happens in the interim while we're building that? That's the question. So.
Okay, Sherry?
Hi, Larry. I'm Sherry Berger. I have two questions for
Yes.
you. Will Three Bridges have their own fire department and EMT?
No, we won't. We'll be, right now, we're slated to be served by Salem. I think there's a discussion to be had there with us paying some proportional share to you because of your proximity to us. I think you'd probably would get there quicker in a fire than Salem would, but we haven't had any decision on that. But I think it's an important discussion point. Yeah, please.
So we do have mutual aid agreements with both Salem and Spanish Fork. And so we currently both respond to each other's cities in the event of fires. And I've had discussions with Salem's fire chief about how we would work with bridges. It would be a lot the same. It would be a mutual aid where we would be probably called out as we currently are with Salem. So he's responding to that area. That's kind of what we're talking about now.
Sounds like they're handling it between the cities, which is good. There has to be a lot of coordination on that point.
My other question is, do you have a current finalized development agreement with the city of Salem?
We do, and we have for about a year or longer. Yeah. It's public information. Probably find it on their website. And if you have a problem, you can call me and I'll get you a copy. I'll send you a copy of it. You're welcome.
Okay. Well, you let him off way too easy. But we can go another round if. Now we're getting started. All right. Well, thanks, Larry. I think that was helpful and informative, and we appreciate you taking the time and coming and reaching out. I believe it's important to be good neighbors as well.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Larry.
Good night. Okay, back to you, Wayne, for a planning commission update. You seem surprised.
In your packet, there's a conditional use permit for Summit Creek for their sales office. If you didn't know, they have a sales office that's a little accessory building that they've moved in over by their mailboxes, and they have to yearly reapply for a conditional use permit to continue to use that as a sales office. So that's before you tonight. The Planning Commission looked at it and reviewed it and approved it for another year. They're late in getting that to us, so it's good for the next 6 months, and then they'll have to apply again if they want to continue to use their sales office next year, calendar year 2026. So, but we didn't have any issue with it, and we're recommending to you all to approve that conditional use permit for them. We have the item B, ordinance change for 10.13.2. It's our sign ordinance. And heretofore, we have not allowed any signage in the city right-of-ways throughout the city. We're recommending to you that be changed, that it would come to me for approval. Whoever is in my position would be able to approve signage in the city right-of-way. What has prompted this at this point is our upcoming political seasons, and for those running for office to be able to put political signage in the city right-of-way. So, but it pertains to any signage in the city right of way. The person in my position can approve that. It doesn't have to be any specific topic or thing. We will exercise judgment. Our focus will be city-sponsored events that can be advertised in the city right of way, and not advertising businesses and such.
And I believe I requested so that for Woodland Hills Days, we could put some signs. I think that was part of what started.
Yes, and we can. So
Some signs.
we've reviewed that, the planning commission, and recommend to you all to approve that particular ordinance change. The next item in your packet is, we've mentioned this before, and I'll just briefly touch on it again. Due to a change in state ordinances, they've added additional requirements that a city's building official has to have. Our current building official doesn't have some of those requirements, and it would take several years to acquire them. Other cities are in the same situation. So, and that person is Ted. Ted has contacted the state, and they have come up with a workaround to accommodate cities who don't have a qualified building official. And that is that we change that person's title, in our instance, to Community Development Director. And that will allow, with our ordinances, and that's what we're changing here, for Ted to perform all the functions that he previously performed as a building official, except for issuing certificates of occupancy and temporary certificates of occupancy and certificates of completion for remodels. We made arrangements tentatively for Sunrise, who has a qualified person, to take on those responsibilities from referral from the city to them, to issue those in the appropriate stage of completion and building with those three items. Otherwise, Ted will continue to do everything that he has done, reviewing plans, etc. You can imagine a lot of the changes that were needed to be made. I've gone through the ordinance and pulled all those changes out, and they're in your packet. There are a couple of things where a building official is appropriate in our ordinances, and it's relating to those three things that I spoke about. So would like you to review that, and then in a month or so, another city council meeting will look at it for approval. But for right now, since it's so voluminous, we wanted to get it out to you. You can look at it and review it. And if there's any changes that you see that we overlooked, let me know. So that's what that document is. And the last item, D, is we have two developers that are proceeding under our old subdivision development, because one has a development agreement and the other was approved with their preliminary plat months ago, if not maybe a year or so ago. So those are still proceeding under our old ordinance, those two developers. And that ordinance requires the Planning Commission and the City Council to approve the estimate and bonding information that the developer provides to the city. And they initially provide that as a guide, and then Ted takes that on, looks at it, reviews it, goes back and forth to the developer with any questions that he might have, and then he finalizes that amount. And those figures then go into bonding information that we get from the developer. And our old ordinance requires that to be reviewed by both planning commission as well as city council. Our new ordinance does not, but we've got both those entities, both Summit Creek and Bellevue, were operating under our old subdivision ordinance because of the timing of things. So it's just a matter of reviewing it. If you have any questions, Ted's available to answer them. Otherwise, it's just presenting them to you for your review and any comments or concerns that you might have with them. So that's what that is about. And Ted has reviewed, the one that you're looking at is for Bellevue. Ted has reviewed that, gone back and forth a little bit with them to get better figures, updated figures. And so that's the information that you have, is that updated, corrected information from when they initially submitted them. So
Great.
that's all. Okay.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I have one question for you, Wayne. On Summit Creek conditional use application,
Yes.
it looks like our signature is with Ben. And I guess we were informed today that he is no longer with Summit Creek.
Yeah.
Would we
Correct.
revamp that to like a
Um,
Bucky signature or something of that nature?
we can do that. It's basically a continuum from
Okay.
Ben to Bucky, but we could have Bucky sign it without any problem.
I reached out to Ben for Woodland Hills Days, and he let me know that he was no longer with Summit Creek.
Yeah, he's working for a company up in Salt Lake now. So Bucky's kind of, for your information, assumes Ben's duties until he gets overwhelmed.
Well, I texted, he hasn't responded, so.
Yeah, Ben was doing a lot for him over there. So we've been dealing with Bucky.
Might have reached it.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, Wayne.
Thanks,
You're
Wayne. Okay. Chris, in the flesh.
Oh my gosh, the man in the office.
Yeah, it's a little casual for a.
Yeah.
Got sand in
Paul
your,
McCarthy used to be in flip-flops.
That's true. That's true.
sand in your shoe.
It's good to see you guys.
Welcome.
Got a little bit to talk about tonight.
Can you hear us better in the
I
flesh?
can hear you a lot better right now. I could hear you that other Monday when you guys did the demonstration too. So, it's kind of interesting to talk about May, June financials because we have really delved into them the past couple months. We're going to delve into them again a little bit tonight, specifically this upcoming year. So is there any questions on the May financials, the May check approval, the June? I'd like to each if you want. You could just spend 2 hours on them, but May financials or June check approval.
May was predominantly in the well, right?
Yes.
That's all I had.
And there was another well expense that came through this month that'll be backdated to last month, and a road. Seemed like there was something with the roads. Ted, you
Did
might-
we also have the Maple Canyon, our 40% of the Maple Canyon well change as well?
I can't remember when that came in, but that check has been,
Yeah.
has come in, or the bill has come in.
Ed, is your hand up or you just waving the microphone? I thought I just saw movement back there. So, all right.
Okay, are we going to, okay,
Yeah, I think,
I read through it all, I looked at it.
sorry. We did have a drive item this week, so it's something to do. So with us tonight, we have Aaron Lowe, who is on the Finance Committee, and we also have Tim Larson, who's on the Finance Committee. If they, I'd like them to come up if they can. We're gonna have a little bit of discussion here about, and I don't want to put Aaron on the spot. He wasn't able to. He wasn't part of the discussion, but between him and also Mike Taylor, who thought he might be able to get on, but he didn't quite know what was going on with family plans. And then Ted, I don't want to leave you out. This is going to require some discussion with Ted. So I've got some notes because I want to make sure that we're mainly for we're talking about the truth in taxation. After the last council meeting in June, the council, I should know better.
You should
I
know
know.
better.
Okay, in June, when you guys voted on the property tax potential rate increase, we went over multiple numbers. There were some that were an overall 10%, overall 15%, and even higher. And I think you guys wanted to settle on something that was closer to the 10%, which meant it was a 2.5 overall tax increase on the tax rate from 2024 to 2025. The county came back and said in July, there was an overall, well, not July, in June, there was an overall increase in property values within the city of Woodland Hills of approximately 8%, which means they're going to take the tax rate and drop it down by about the same level. And so we're getting more information. Ted and I went back and talked about what can we do so we don't have to have such a big, huge tax increase. Talked to several of you, talked to the mayor, and Ted went to town. And I see these out for everybody here. So what I'm handing out here is a map and a budget. This is the pavement management plan. This is the thing that's really kicking us needing a lot of money for in the future here with the city to be able to get these roads in the shape that they haven't been in 20 years ago. They just have never been brought all the way up to date. Ted, through the engineering company, went through and developed a plan. The engineering company came through with Ted and worked on the roads, did sampling, figured out what would be the best treatment for the roads. Do we have to rip them all the way up? Can we do a slurry seal? And one of the main things that the engineer said is, you got to preserve what's new. That's the number one thing. We've got some roads that are just garbage, and you drive on them, they've got huge potholes. But we've got some roads that are brand new that for a lot less money can be preserved for a lot longer. And I can let Ted speak to that a little bit. So Ted went, and let's go to page 2 on this. Ted went back to the pavement management plan. Originally in June, when we were presenting the budget, it was broken out over 4 years. Ted went back and, without causing too much consternation or problems with the roads, could take it out to 7 years, which lessened the burden on the residents and the property taxes. Once again, we're not like Salem or Spanish Fork or Mapleton. We don't have a lot of sales tax. We don't have DOT roads. We don't have any of that. It just, all this really comes out of the citizens' pockets, except for some Class C road funds. So Ted went to town. And you'll see on this page 2, the very top line is a blue line. And that was the project that was supposed to start in 2025. But because of some challenges and some calendaring, scheduling, okay. Yeah, just some scheduling conflicts. I need to be bumped to this year. So it was a $525,000 project. This year for 26, it's slated to be $528,000. Now, before, when we were working on this plan, I think that was about almost close to $700,000 roughly. That was originally slated to be for 2026. We'll go down to the next one, 26-27. It's $343,000 projected in road projects. 27-28 is $372,500. 2029 gets a little spendy, but $465,000, and 20 and 30. Anyway, so you can see he broke them down. We do need to add a little bit of an inflationary number on there. But what we have now is we have a plan for one of the biggest assets in the city. There is a plan, and it's a legit plan done by engineers, done by our own in-house CDD person. I don't know, do we call you an engineer still, or? Okay. So, oh, sorry, those online, I've got this so you guys can see it online. I apologize. Let me shoot this up on the, here.
You said you went from 5 years to 7 years to 4. 4 years. Okay, okay.
Spread it out a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah, and the reasoning behind that was really pavement. When you're looking at the first pavement management project we would do this, which is going to be done this September, it has a life of about 7 years. So we figure if we can take then the rest of the time and get through the rest of the projects, that puts us back then to recycling again in about 7 years. So rather than try and tackle as quick as we could, as well, let's take it out to what the plan would facilitate in getting through the cycle of the roads and then starting back over again. But your treatments get less the next round, right? Because we're going to do the majority of the worst work this round.
But a 7-year turnover is still well within sort of the professional, I guess.
Yeah,
It meets
yeah.
the standards.
Yeah, yeah. And some of it may be spaced out a little more as we get through this first 7 years. Then we may have another one in 7 years, and the next one may not be needed for another 3 to 5 years or something like that. So,
So yes. Now, one thing I want to put a caveat on this, everything we're talking about right now is the general account. It has nothing to do with the enterprise, nothing with the water account. For those people that live on Maple, Sky Lake, Lakeview, Valley View, Highline, those streets over there that are falling apart, we're working right now. Ted is working feverishly, and he's been on this with the state almost every week trying to get grants, loans, low interest loans. I've got some low interest loans for 0% interest to do some road or water lines before. What we don't want to do is go put brand new road over there and then the next year rip it all up and it's just junk. So you're not forgotten, you're loved, but we're just going a different route. It's not coming from the general fund. So I just want to make that clear. And Ted is actively, I even talked to Ted this week, and he had talked to the state again this week about finances, and things have changed with the new administration from the president and within the state. And anyways, monies are becoming potentially more available now. So now we got a project, a plan, and we've got dollars. So I went through and did a 7-year budget. Just what is this going to look like? What are our options? And let me share that screen here. That's the right one. Okay. So see if I can make that a little bit bigger. Okay. So we've got a couple different options. I'm just calling them option A. Option A is keep things status quo, which means go ahead and do the property tax increase of the roughly 10%. It's coming out to be about, on average, 10.06% across the city. Some are a little bit higher. Some are, I haven't heard of anybody being a little less than 10%, but on average, it's about 10% overall. Then in subsequent years, you can see it highlighted up here, subsequent years, continue doing just a 2.5% increase over the actual cash collected the year before, not the property tax increase, the actual cash. And incorporated all the leases we have, all the loans that we have right now, the pavement management plan, and then how much we'd have to take out of savings. And taking out of savings seems to be kind of a question that the council wants to answer. How much do we want to keep in savings? What's a reasonable amount? Once again, this is the general account, so we don't have to worry about water lines or those kind of breaks, or a pump going down, or like Larry talked about, that casing that went down that cost us $200,000 roughly. We have money in the savings account for that in water. So I went ahead with taking the current budget, with keeping, we do truth on taxation, and you guys passed the tax rate in August, and want to show you what happens with our savings account. Now, we currently estimated as of June 30th have $2.2 million that are accessible to us between what's been saved in the roads, capital projects, and what we haven't spent in the general account this year. Remember, we're carrying over a road project. It's actually like 18 months worth of road projects because of getting it done. So we actually have a higher balance than we've been talking about the past couple of days. Verified with one of our accountants. So taking into consideration today, roughly $2.2 million, with the road projects as broken out on the map that I showed you just a minute ago. And let's go to the map. If you look at the green section, which is fiscal year 25, and there's a ton of green on your map that gets done. And this is called microsurfacing. Ted, you want to elaborate on that?
yeah, basically just a wear course you put on top of the roads. It helps preserve them, make them last a little longer. We'll go for that's the first treatment usually you do after you do new surface on it, so that road will last now instead of falling apart. Just another cycle through that. It's also the least costly of all the.
And it's a lot. You can see it gets a lot done. You want to talk about 26, what we're doing this year also?
26 is where the road surface a little worse. Treatments. would be most applicable to the condition of the road through AI technology. Um, we'll shape it to a bad shape. So they mill up the top 2 inches. But still, like, it's not full. So it's kind of the next level. Deep work, but they're not.
And then 27 through 32, what's pulverize and repave?
These are the worst of the roads. These are the ones where we just shot basically turn up the asphalt. In this case, what we would do is we turn up the asphalt. They pulverize in place. This is what we did on our waterline roads. Pulverize it in place, and then they add some oil. They recompact it back down, base course, and then put a whole new layer. Get double the thickness of base if we've had base under these before. Structural section, as well.
So it's quite involved. Now, if we take the scenario where we do the 10% this year and the 2.5% from year to year, we need to take roughly 650,000 out of our savings, out of that 2.5 million. That'll leave us 1.6 million. The next year, we're only going to need roughly $3,000, and we can make that so it's zero, but I just want to use that for illustration purposes. So that leaves us at the end of 27, June, roughly 1.6 million. And then in fiscal year 28, we need to transfer 20,000 out, which will leave us about 1.5 million. The next year, 100,000, 101,000. Anyways, starting in 2030, we'd start putting money back in. But at the end of 2032, if it was a perfect world, and once again, the confidence level when we get that far out is lower than the next 3 years. But this just gives you illustrative purposes. So that leaves us almost $7 million. That's a lot of money. How much does the council feel is sufficient to keep in the savings account? I've heard some numbers ranging from 50,000 to as high as 500,000 and in between there. So that's going to be a question that would be helpful to have you guys answer of what do you think would be a sufficient amount of money to keep in a savings account for the general. I've taken on another screen here, which we'll talk about. I think I've taken $200,000 or $250,000. This takes a lot of the citizens. I'm just going to tell you right now. That's a lot. I don't think the city needs a $2 million fund balance in the general account. We do have some laws and some stipulations on there. Let's go to another option. That's the option keeping the 10% and 2.5% every year. So let's just say we keep the tax rate level. We accept what what the county has offered on our tax rate, which is $1,012,000. And we just keep it level through the years. Now, this isn't going to be true because it's going to go up a little bit each year, but for discussion purposes, I just kept it level through the whole time. Everything else is the same down with the loans and with the same pavement management plan. But what I want to look at is the savings account. So we start again with the $2.2 million. But since we're not raising property taxes, we're going to take a couple $100,000 more out of savings, so $865,000. And you can see what this does to us as we keep going down, just not raising property taxes, just keeping them level, knowing they will go up a little bit. But we get to the point that about 21, we're about that $250,000. So I'm thinking, okay, this still has let me know that we may not need to do a tax rate increase at all. You just keep it level this year and next year, revamp it, relook at it again as we get into, we'll have 2 of these road projects done. We'll have a better understanding of what's going on and what's going to require. The contractor may say, you know, working on the hillside is crazy. We got to add another $50,000. I don't know. But the way things are going now, we may not even need to do a truth in taxation. Once again, it's up to you guys. There's a third option that I want to present to you guys. We have a few loans right now with that deal with roads. We have a Class C road bond called 2019 Class C road bond, or a franchise tax. This was taken out in 2019, kind of right before COVID, but it was retiring a 2014 bond. And the 2014 bond went and redid all of Woodland Hills Drive, put the curbing up, finished the fire station, did some other park stuff. I'm looking at you because I can't remember some of the other things that we did, but we did a lot of things with that. But that loan went out 30 years. And in dealing, talking with Ted and others, really roads should only maximum go out 10 years on any kind of note. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, and really that comes back to the life of, whenever you go look for funding for projects, you're looking at the life of the project. So a lot of your roads are 10 to 15 years. You want to try and have the loans paid off by the end of the life of the project. Water lines have lives of 30 to 50 years. So a lot of the water projects we do, you'll see loans that go out 30 years because that the life of a pipe is generally 30 to 50 years, and they're even now going beyond 50 years with plastic pipe. So, but roads not so. They're in that 10 to 15 year range, pushing 20 if you do a full rehab. And you want to try not to go beyond the life of the project with the funding.
So taking into consideration, if we retire that bond, that gives us more borrowing power. So we retire that bond, about $690,000 left on that. We retire that, then we can go out and get another note to help do this project right here. If we want to go do everything on this map and take economies of scale and not worry about inflationary numbers, if you look at the construction inflationary numbers, Tim grabbed some numbers for us. And I don't know if we have to take COVID out. I mean, through COVID, it was up in the mid 20s. It was crazy what it was going per year. Even last year in 2024, it was in the 6 to 8% range, just in the asphalt and the things that deal with roads. Do you have anything?
Pretty close to double. The inflation rate for road construction seems to be about, over the last 8 years, double or more what the CPI increase is or has been.
So that's something to take into consideration, because we're going to talk about loans here, and those loans that we have right now are in the 2% range. But the new loans right now are going to be in the 2% range. The new loans are going to be in the 4.5% range. So they've got a 2% higher interest rate on the loans, but yet we've got an inflationary number of these roads going up 6, 8, 10, 12% per year. So we need to take that into consideration as we're talking here. So if we paid, oh yeah.
So one of the advantages is you trade an unknown, which could be 6, could be 8, could be 12% increase in inflation, and trade it for something that's known, a fixed interest rate.
Wouldn't you want to keep a 2% loan and not pay it off so that, you keep that rate and then maybe get another loan at 4?
Yeah, one of the things with retiring this loan is cutting the time. It's a 30-year note. I think we're still 15 years on it. So we want to get rid of it, because it's, even at 14 years, at Woodland Hills Drive is going to need 4 different projects on it. Okay, so let's look at this. So we just keep this tax rate level with the county's given us is $1.12 million. Let me sorry, on my computer, I'm not on it. There we go. We jump down and borrow $2.3 million from Zions Bank. These are estimates, okay? It could be 1.9, it could be 2. Or it could be 2.2, or it could be 2.4. But these are just giving you guys some numbers. Transfer 1.5 out of the 1.6 out of the bank. So 690,000 of that's going to go pay the old bond back. Plus, we're going to need some cash to get up to the $3.2 million to get this whole road project done in 1 year. Then what does that do to us from here on out? Well, let's look at the savings account. It's gone. So we start at $2.2 million. We have to spend 1.5 this year. That leaves us roughly about $700,000. In subsequent years, we'd still need to dip into the savings account. 80 grand here, 100 grand there, 100 grand there, 200 grand there. So by 2030, that gets us closer to the $250,000. This does not burden the citizens too much more. It gets the road projects all done right now. Ted has to go back to the drawing board and redo now his maintenance schedule, because the roads are all going to be done. And he's done. He's retiring, he said. So
Your work is finished.
he's done. Tonight, the whole loan and everything that needs to be vetted out a little bit more. And I need to take it back to the finance committee, have them review it and present something to the council. But and that doesn't have to be decided tonight. And the truth in taxation is not till the second week in August. But just want to give you guys some thoughts, some things to consider, ask questions. Ted happens to. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Oh, I think you did a good job covering it. I mean, this is really gives some options to consider, anywhere from what was proposed to zero, anything in between.
And you guys have the option to raise the taxes all the way up like we talked about, or not do anything, or anything in between. We just can't go above it.
Does this assume, say this Plan C, does this assume that all other budgetary line items for all other departments that come from the general fund remain the same as well?
I've taken an inflationary number on every single one, including when the snowplow lease truck leases are up. I've added a little bit more into those because those are going to increase. I've added more into the fire.
Okay,
I've added more into salaries. So I have taken an inflationary number.
thank you.
I'm just curious as far as the logistics of doing them all at once. I mean, that seems like that would be nightmarish to, I mean, I don't know how quickly you can cycle through each section, but I mean, if you're shutting down all roads in town simultaneously or even close to simultaneously. That's true, which is why I go through patience.
I'd envision this as a year-long project.
We're just going to set this as a work from home moratorium for,
Right.
for a year, but
The whole city.
no. And when I think what Chris means is all at one time, it doesn't mean everybody's going to convene on the city and do all the projects at one time. There are three different types of projects, probably be three different types of contractors, three different contracts, likely happen over the course of 1 to 2 years. So you would do like the micro seal. We've already got scheduled to have that one done in September. So all these green roads, we're planning on starting those and doing those in towards September and October.
Right. No, I'm not talking, I'm talking if we debt finance it
Oh.
and then we just do it as one giant bite. What that looks like in terms of actual closures, what that looks like in terms of actual disruptions to the flow of traffic.
I don't really think because much like when you do road projects in cities, they'll complete one project and then those roads will open up and can be used while they work on the next project. Those roads will be up and be used while they work on the next project. There's three different types of projects here. So you would have one done before you do the next, before you do the next. So you would have some road closures, but we would have other means for people to travel around the city during those road closure times. They're going to happen regardless. It either happens now or it happens when we do them 5 years from now. I don't think it'll change. It'll be just do one project, then open those roads while you close some more roads, rather than do these projects now and then wait a year and close some roads and do those projects. Wait another 2 years and close these roads and do some projects.
And the
Because I just see
microsurfacing,
the immediacy as an
Yeah.
advantage. The immediacy
Yeah.
of doing it is, I think that's a win.
Economy
but
of scale.
It comes at a cost too.
I
A
hope
lot
it'll
of the
be a lot
projects-
less than what we're getting right now from fiber.
but your microsurfacing is going to take a lot of the roads. These other ones that are going to close the roads down, so you got to go down Oak and cut across Valley View. You know, it's going to be a 3-minute inconvenience.
Right.
These are not long. Micro they'll be on different roads throughout the city. Probably another. Wise.
Okay. So, I mean, that's all I was trying to get at really is so like if we borrow the money to do them all at once, but then it still ends up taking 3 or 4 years, then it really doesn't change the nature of the outcome. I mean, I know we might be getting cheaper money or we might be getting better value for our dollar, but
Yeah.
in terms of the timing, I just want to make sure that there is an actual difference. It's not going to be something where it's like just as a matter of the feasibility in terms of the timing, we still will have to drag it out 3 or 4 years, even if we borrow money to do it.
The plan is right now that we're doing micro stills, mill and fills are out there right now. Safe. They'll be done probably. That just leaves the pulverize and repaves on the list. Get it all at once. Possibly even.
And this is something we have not had an opportunity to do in the city before. And I do want to kind of make one little caveat. The city council did not have this information. We did not have this information before the last council meeting. So when you guys voted on it, you had the best information that we had at that time, which was a 4-year plan. And that's why the citizens got that notice in the mail. That was the best we had at that moment.
I just had a question on the financing. So if we did option 3, would we have to pay interest on the full amount as soon as we took it, or would it be as we drew it up? Would it be something where we'd only pay interest as we drew it up? Because if it takes 3 years to get it done, that'd be crazy.
In speaking with the bank, it would probably be held in-house since it's a small amount. And so I would hope we can negotiate just as we pull it.
Okay.
Unless they want to, we'd have to ask the financial advisors, if they're going to dump the whole, whatever, 3.2 million, well, $1.9 million in our bank account, that would be one thing.
So you're saying essentially it would be a line of credit as opposed to just.
That's what I need to find out. Yeah.
That would be a
If that were the
question
case,
that
we
I
could
was-
push these.
Well, it is a government bond, so they work a little bit differently in traditional financing.
It's just a question I had, because if, say you can't get contractors out here, or it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Then are we paying interest on something that, you know what I mean?
And we,
Just with the money we've set aside, I mean, 2/3 of our roads are going to be done by the end of this year. So we're talking 1/3 of the roads are left. They just happen to be the worst case roads, so they're the most expensive.
and if it takes roughly 60 days from the day you guys say yes and we get the bonding resolution in place to the time we actually would see the cash. So we could time that also.
So after talking with Ted, Ted, correct me if I'm wrong, if we did this option and we kind of put these into place, it would almost put us into a good cycle for sealing, mill and fill and replace on about a quarter of the city at a time.
Yeah.
Going
So
forward from that. So
And what it would do is it would push out the need to, well, one, it would save us on maintenance because we do spend a bunch on maintenance right now, but it would push out the need to kind of start the next phase of it. Generally, once you do new pavement, you like to seal that within a few years. So probably what we'd come back is if we did like a pulverize and repave, we might come back in a few years with some of our operational money we've saved because it would not be near as expensive and just do micro seal on some of these roads, for a couple $100,000 or whatever. And then that gets you by for another 7 years. So what this does, it puts us into it would put us into a good cycle to maintain the roads and stay up on the maintenance with them so we don't keep losing them
but
like we
it
have.
doesn't put the whole city into a replace every 7 years
Right.
at the same time. It's kind of broke. The way I looked at it is it broken up into about four different groups, right? The ones that we've already done, and then we've got that we're doing the
So the micro seal are the ones we've
micro seal
done.
projects.
They're the ones we've
And
done.
then we got a mill and fill group, and then we've got a replace group, and then we're gonna have our brand new that's gonna come in from the water line project. That'll be that fourth group. Kind of seems to be a good cycle where we're not having to do all, the whole city mill and fill at the same time, or the whole city repave at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like a quarter of the city is getting the big project, a quarter of the city's getting the next lower one, a quarter the next. And so the way I was kind of envisioning it as I went through it after our meeting.
Yeah. Generally, I mean, that's kind of the way it works. I mean, like the ones we're micro sealing this year, micro seals last about 6-7 years. So probably in another 6-7 years, we'll come back and reevaluate, and we could probably maybe be able to do another micro seal, which gives you by for another 6 or 7 years. And while the other roads, if they're done this year as well, or beginning of next year, we would micro seal those too. So then these ones we're micro sealing this year, the pavement starts to get older. So maybe in 2 cycles of micro seal, we'd be looking at a mill and fill on those while we're still micro sealing the others.
Correct. That's
And
what
keeps
and
that
it's
keeps
like
that
maybe we
going.
get
Yeah.
broken into quarters where we're only having to do the big portion on a quarter of our roads at a time.
We'll finally get on top of it.
Yeah, because I've had it where we're put in 2 pieces of equipment and they're both run, and then I got to replace 2 pieces of equipment because they're both worn out, right? That's what if we can stage it to where you're doing one and then the next one and then the next one, it seemed like it really worked out well with this process, if we did this process.
But I think that, like, even if we do the 7-year plan, we still are going to be on top of our roads sufficiently that they're not going to fall into total disrepair, but we'll still be able to maintain them at a healthy level. It seems to me that the key is going to be the cost. Is it costing us more ultimately to stretch it out over 7 years, or if it's going to be actually cheaper to do it as a single kind of a project?
That inflationary rate is the biggest unknown.
And there's one of your charts. So this is a chart that he got from the National Highway Institute or something like that. I mean, just even Q4, this is the latest data they had. Q1 of 2024 was 12%, 6%, and then 7.4%. So we're going to still be potentially somewhere around there. You're coming off of COVID. It's just ugly.
Well, and so my company makes asphalt products.
Oh.
It's one of the things that we do. And raw asphalt, I think, has been averaging about 9.5% inflation every year. It's been really hitting us hard. If you go down to Lowe's or Home Depot and look at APOC or Gardner, that's the company I work for. And we make those products, and we're buying raw asphalt, and we've been seeing about 9.5% increases.
If we do the drill, baby drill, are we looking at a possible surplus though, do you think?
I don't think we're there. So the problem has become one of the problems is you see it with diesel prices, where the diesel prices used to be super low and now they've gotten really high. So our technology has gotten better at refining, and the cost effectiveness of refining has gotten better. So we actually we can cost effectively refine more stuff into premium gasoline, that we're getting less diesel fuel because we're refining more, and we're doing and asphalt is down at the bottom of the chain. So our asphalt supply is actually shrinking as we're making these, as it's becoming more cost effective, and the technology is increasing to where we can refine some of these other products.
So your view of the horizon is that it will continue to kind of be a scarce.
It's absolutely going to, that's one of the things that our company looks at quite heavily is that increase, because that's how the technology is. That's why diesel prices are so high, because we're making more gasoline, because the cost effectiveness of it and the technology has gotten to the point where we can make more out of that, 40,000 barrels.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well. Oh yeah, Mark, you'll just have to talk into a microphone. Yes. That's all we ask.
It has to be on. So let's
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So
we asked two things.
It asked a question about the long-term financing year over year. I heard that question very well. Unfortunately, I did not hear the answer. We talked about, is it going to be draws on it, or will it be a one-time loan that we have to sit on money and pay interest on unused?
We just need to find out from the banker.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a short.
And follow up to that, if we end up with, one-time money, is our PTF going to be offsetting some of that?
So since it's government bonds, we have a limited amount we can invest in and make money off of government lower interest rate anyway. So it gets a little tricky there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't see a bank giving us draws on a fixed rate interest.
Yeah.
I just don't see that.
And this, honestly, this $2 million, $1.9 million is really small amount of money for what these bankers do.
So in terms of how it would actually play out then, because that would be a key piece of the decision making. So I guess in terms of kind of pulling the trigger on one plan or the other, I mean, it seems to me that getting those details on the loan would be.
I will ask right now. He's usually pretty good at getting back to me. So hopefully in the next couple of minutes, I'll have an answer.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's quite a banker you have.
They are good to us.
Okay. Well, I suppose as far as a decision to be made tonight, this is more to chew on, but I know that it does relate to whether or not we are going to accept the county's proposed certified rate, or if we're going to increase it. So I guess that we probably still do need to make a decision in that regard tonight.
Yeah, because our next meeting is
Yeah, it's either that or
the deal. And
yeah.
I don't think we can.
You can what?
I don't think we can make a decision tonight.
Well, it's always good news if we go down.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if it's not on the agenda, we can't vote on it tonight.
Well, and it might
So
just be a consensus
We
that
can
we're
have a
reaching.
consensus of that.
Then we know what to present. That's the
Yeah.
key I'm looking for.
So I've reached out to the county to ask if the council did decide not to do truth and taxation, what would be the process? And I asked him late this afternoon, so I haven't heard back from him.
Okay. I mean, so I don't know if consensus would be enough if we decide to put the brakes on that.
Well, I would like a truth and taxation. There's nothing better than good news. If we went ahead and held a meeting, I think it would be
It would be nice to present,
For the
this is what
benefit.
we had to look
I mean, here
at.
they-
This is what we made that choice on.
Yeah.
This is what's come since, and this is what we've decided.
I did,
That's
I mean,
fair.
I did ask Chris, how do we notify the citizens if we don't? Because they've all gotten their notice in the mail and gotten, I
Heart
mean, my
attack.
husband did, right?
I haven't gotten mine yet.
Yeah. He was mad about it.
You better check your mail.
And he's like, if I only knew a city council member, and I said, yes. well, I do."
And if you
Right.
don't hold the meeting, a lot of the citizens will never know anything different. It'll just be the high rate.
Well, but they talked about sending out a letter to everybody. Which I think.
They're
we
probably
should
more
do.
liable to read that than come.
Probably should do that anyway.
Probably should do both, maybe.
Probably should do both. I think good news is worth having.
Who signs that letter? Would that be coming from the mayor, from the city council, from Ted?
Okay.
But
A Donald Trump rebate. is what you're talking about.
Gee.
I think holding the meeting.
Yeah, there's, I mean, you know, it's something, I think that's a great point. I mean, it's sort of, I mean, it evokes certainly a more emotional response. And so to come there ready to, you know, really take us to task and then be
Burst
met
their
with
bubble.
hopefully good news. Yeah,
But-
yeah, I know.
But also, maybe they'll be able to appreciate the process that we go through
Yeah.
because we're explaining, look how hard
This is
everybody
not
worked
easy.
on
This
this.
is not easy.
Like, this is not an easy process. And you have the finance committee too that's been looking at it. I mean, it's not just, you know, and Ted and Chris have done the most work, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, maybe they would have an appreciation of how much work it is to get
Yeah.
to that point.
And to know that we have a plan. I've
That's-
said this
that's
before.
huge.
When I first got elected, Public Works is what kept me up at night. And I was like, I don't know where in the heck we're going with this. And so thank you, Ted. Ted said he doesn't sleep anymore, but I sleep.
it's water. The next item Ted really needs on the agenda. And then,
Yeah.
but, and also when
Setting you up. yeah.
Tim sent the numbers over last week and the rates that have been going up, it's just because, you know, you don't want to get 2%, give away 2% loan to get a 4% loan. But when you see the rate increases, it was just like, well, to me, it seems like
Well,
it's kind of a
and that's the
no-brainer.
question. In my head, it seems right, 2% loan over the next, 15 years. What we're gonna pay in interest on that rather than paying it off. It would be nice to do that quick calculation. It's not amortization is never a quick calculation, but.
Well, it's
just-
quick for us. It will be painstaking for Chris.
Yeah, and I love doing it on the fly.
But
So
it would be nice to say, this is what we would pay if we kept this 2% loan over time. And if we paid it off, this is what, on just that portion. So it would,
So as far as what we would like to decide for next meeting then, I mean, do we want to make next meeting the pivot point at which we say we're going to do debt financing or we're going to do the 7-year piece at a time?
can we have all the information?
so next meeting is just in truth and taxation. So I think all this would fit perfectly into it. What, yes, I can have more information from the bank and we can have the amortization schedule, the differences.
You can disseminate that to us as soon as you get it.
Yeah, as I will be,
I know you're.
Ted's going on a cruise.
Yeah, he's throwing me under the bus first. My
That's
cruise
right.
isn't
I
going to,
did
my
take
cruise
that
isn't going to Europe though.
Yeah, no.
Well, you're dressed like it. Just to take another swing.
Uh-oh, you open the door, not me.
Hot in here.
You open the door,
Hey,
man.
Chris, do you need to borrow my foot to shove it in
Yeah,
your
I
mouth?
know.
And
Well, I'm going
also-
to blame my wife right now because she bought us all a trip about a year ago because we had 2 kids graduate from advanced degrees. And so,
And and which is awesome. And
Yeah.
congratulations on that. I suppose it doesn't need to be next meeting. I mean, it would be nice if we could bundle it all together, but I don't think that it would be a great idea for us to make that call with you on some AOL connection if you can
right.
tap in at all and head at karaoke night.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do
He's gonna
it,
be doing boot scooting.
right?
I
We could
used to
maybe
could do
it the
that. I don't,
following,
it's painful
meeting.
now.
Does anybody have any objection to that? So truth and taxation, we can kind of vet it in the public view. And then the following meeting, when everyone's here, we'll hopefully have all the information that we need. And then we can make a final decision. Because that does seem like that's kind of I mean, we got to pick one or the other. And
Do we not need to make a final decision in Truth and Taxation?
I will have to double check. I know it has to be done by August 31st. I don't know if, I don't believe you have to make it that night, but I will double check to make sure with the county. I believe we have
Okay.
till the
So that's-
31st. But the other thing too is, we have a use it or lose it policy in the city with hours for employees, and I won't be back for the meeting after that either.
oh, okay. Well,
But I plan on getting on this one. It's what, 2 a.m. over there at that time? About. So I plan on getting on, and we're going to be in the middle of Norway. So
A lot of fun.
I bet it is. Or maybe I could just give it all to Janet. I can run through Janet. Janet can do it.
yeah, no, I don't, either way is fine with me. I mean, I think that the key is going to be having the answers to make the
Yep.
decision.
Yes.
So
If you could provide that, I'd be happy with it.
So the answer is, that, do you want to know the difference on the interest from the different notes? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
just to make sure we're not throwing away a good loan.
Gotcha.
That
Okay.
could actually save us money.
Just
In my
hoping
head,
that's
it works, but not an amortization.
Okay.
And do we need more information on sort of the inflationary aspects of asphalt? Are we good with the last, we got 4 or 5 years, right, of data?
Yeah, that's from the National Highway Association. It's per quarter. I don't know that. I don't know if that's just, I think that's just the quarter.
Would it be helpful to have our finance committee members, I think, helping too with maybe the Truth and Taxation meeting?
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great.
I think if Tim could speak to the graph and maybe explain it.
Do you have the graph too? The graph was startling to me. So yeah, that one. So I think the yellow line or the blue line is the CPI and the red line is all what the NHCCI, that's road construction cost inflation over time from 2020 to 2024. That is a huge, that just blew me away. Yeah. And it's still going up and Brian said that his company is expecting it to still go up. So to me, that's the biggest unknown, but it's also the riskiest factor in all of this is you can know the interest rate, you can get a contract, but you don't know what weighting is going to bring.
And the nice thing, we could, even if it was pushed out, part of it was pushed out to the next fiscal year, we could have the contract in place and have that set in stone.
And that was a question I had as you had your discussion. Ted, if we did that last option where we borrowed the money, would all that work be done in 2026 or would some of it be done now?
In the calendar year 2026, yeah. Yeah, we
Well-
could push it all to be done calendar year 2026.
We could get some of it done. We might could get some of it done this year.
Well, actually,
All the green.
here, this green, all the micro seal
Yeah.
and the mill and fill, the orange, those are planned to be done this year before winter. So what we would have remaining are the pulverized and repaves, and we could get that done.
And there's no borrowing for those that are already slated, right?
Well, no.
But didn't you say that you would be reimbursing the accounts with the borrowed money?
That's kind of the details. Something they work out of the bank, but we if we need to, but we'd be taking a chunk out of our own savings account to pay off the loan and to use our cash. So we'd probably be
borrowing some.
Do you need a consensus to put all this information together? Do you need a consensus from the council on what we think we should have there? Because you said it went from 50 to 500,000 in that savings account. What we
Said you
want
wanted to know that, what we want the reserve to be.
Remaining.
Oh yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Is this like a?
Just so you can do your calculation.
That would be
I mean,
great.
we can just go around and say what we all want, to
Okay.
get an idea, I guess.
Yeah. I told Chris, I think we need to have $250,000 in as a saving.
200.
I said 250.
It's 150.
Well, I don't vote.
I know, but
I'd say 250.
250. So 250 sounds like is majority.
Yeah,
Probably.
because he's lower. And I guess if you want to average it.
Like, no.
217, 250, 39 cents.
Erring on the
On the
side of
fly.
higher isn't going to hurt us.
Yeah, it won't.
So
Yeah,
I
and
feel like that gives you a little cushion. I mean, if you're shoot for 250 and. we
Just
follow.
thinking of emergencies that come out of that budget.
What typically does come out of that budget, emergency wise? What would it be?
In the past, we've been saving it for airdrops for fire and things like that. But really, the water is the one that takes the most money. We get that blowout in Provo, and how much does that cost them? We blow out a line here, and back in the day, Corbett wanted to have extra money in there, so he wouldn't just put a Band-Aid on. He could replace 2 or 3 sections. So we built the water account up, general account, fire, administrative, city center,
Plowing and roads.
plowing, roads, park. Yeah, we're usually 30 to 55, 60 grand on salt a year, and that's in the budget.
So then as far as, I mean, if you could put together, in addition to the amortization that, not amortization, what do you call it?
You want the differences in the loans, the interest?
Yeah.
Difference in paying it off versus.
Right. So I just want to make sure that we have a clear decision that is being made in terms of, so I know you've given us the option. So I think that with this 250K savings amount, that gives clarity in terms of what that objective is. And so then I guess what we need is, we really only would have 2 options, right? We would have the option where we're doing the 7-year cycling plan, always maintaining that $250,000 floor. And then the option B would be the finance plan, again, keeping that $250,000 floor. So it seems like those should be pretty
Yeah.
manageable numbers to come up with.
If you don't want to do the loan, we should take a little bit more closer look at doing a little bit of a truth and taxation hearing. Probably not this year, not next year, but in 3 years, definitely going to want to look at that as the savings account starts to get closer to that
We have to look
250K.
at it. We have to look at it every year.
Yeah,
anyhow.
so-
I mean, it's something that.
Yeah, we have to I mean, we're going to have to relook at it
Yep.
every year.
Okay. So
Yeah,
is
so I've
everyone
got
in
those.
agreement then if we have those 2, like, you
So
know,
then we're
the
saying.
red pill and the blue pill?
So, so are we all in consensus to not do the 2.5 this year then?
I push really hard for it, but
But we have-
looking at the numbers
Yeah.
and where we're at, it.
I mean, I just want to make
Makes more
sure, I don't
sense.
want to just assume that we're all in consensus on that. No, I agree too.
I mean, so, and I guess that, to your point, to make sure that we have enough for this plan, or 1 or 2 of these plans.
I just
and
want to
then-
make sure everyone's in a consensus that Plan A goes away.
What about Ben?
No, I completely agree. I'm hesitant in any capacity from, making this look like it's a political move, on Janet and I's part. I believe this is the right thing to do, right? And if Plan A was the right thing to do, I'd say we need to stick with Plan A, and
Well, based on the
Good call.
information we had at the time, Plan A was my idea.
correct. And I believe, with that information we've now got better information. And so we need to adjust. We need to shift. We're not here to bleed all of ourselves plus our, the residents of Woodland Hills dry for the sake of just willy-nilly spending of money.
Right.
We're wanting to make sure we were making the best decision, the information we have, serve the needs that our constituents have asked us to serve them with. So I believe decreasing that rate, if not eliminating it, is now the proper course of action.
Okay.
And there's several things to credit. The finance committee needs credit. for some of this.
Absolutely.
And Chris and Ted's work, I mean, like
Everything they've done.
It just took some work.
Yeah.
One,
Amen.
one comment/question I hadn't appreciated till today, as we're talking about the rates and changing what's a low rate for a higher rate. Why would that make any sense? But it's also a question of, as Ted pointed out, a loan that's over 30 years that's not going to cover work done over 30 years. And so as I think through that and I go, but 2% interest is great, but if you take 2% interest over 30 years as opposed to 4% interest over only 10 years, then what's the total cost of that interest over
That's
that?
what I'm looking
So
for.
if we pull that back and we pull the loans back to the timing that the asset is actually going to last, then we're really tying it to the appropriate users paying for it over the appropriate time and maybe even saving money altogether through the process.
Good point. Okay. Well, thanks. That was very helpful. And unless you have more to add to the discussion,
Okay.
okay. Yeah. Well, thanks again.
Here comes the helicopter pitch.
Right.
No, it's
Oh. Let's see. Sorry, Ted, I'll get it here. Get out of your way.
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay, I did just hear back from the bank. It would be a lump sum. So we just have to time
So
it
we'd have
right.
to do the project pretty quickly,
Yeah,
which
just-
could be done in probably less than. These are huge projects for these paving companies.
No, they're
Is
actually.
scheduling
They're
a
small
problematic?
projects, so I think if we put something out to bid in January, we could have someone by summer, finishing everything that hasn't been finished.
And there's enough players that
For
us
that
being
type of
stuck.
work.
Do they want to start bidding sooner for next year's work and get on the schedule?
Yeah, we just have to get the design. We would start, if we go, as soon as we get a direction, I'll put it right out to our engineers.
To engineers, yeah, and then we just get it out to bid,
Yeah.
try to lock.
We've got the one, we've got the mill fill out to bid right now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, there you go. Just, do you want to do this, 2 fingers, or just click on that? Advance the page. I'll sit here just, did you see 2 fingers?
Toby, I am glad to see you here.
Yeah.
We,
I'm gonna have to sit right here.
we sing
So-
your praises here every council meeting.
You what?
We talk
sing
about
your-
you every
we
time.
Talk about you at every council meeting.
In
You
good
guys all
ways.
know Toby, right? So,
Toby, just grab that mic and pull it back down for you.
So Toby needs a helicopter. So
I see how this is.
He has a front end loader. He's
they
fine.
weren't buying it from me, so I thought I'd try another approach. No. The reason, so I would just want to talk a little bit about the well project. This is going to lead into a SCADA discussion, but I wanted to give you a quick update on the well project. So we're pretty much complete with the well project that we had planned. Just wanted to show you a few pictures, and the reason, a few pictures, and then we're going to talk about some money. So I wanted to take so just a minute here and have you look at the pictures of the well. And the reason, so you can look at the before pictures. You can see how much just cleaner, nicer the well is. The unfortunate thing that you can't see in these pictures is how the operations work. But you can see we've got now all the wiring cleaned up. We've got brand new controls in there, brand new pump. Well's been cleaned up. We actually got handrails and guardrails blocking, stairs and holes that go through the floor.
We're OSHA compliant?
We're OSHA compliant. Hazard material gone. If you look over against the wall in the back corner with those 2 yellow tanks by the yellow 5-gallon buckets, that was an air system that was used to get well level, where you'd have to go up there, look at a pressure gauge, and then look at a chart hanging on the wall to determine what your level was. Now we get all that basically on my phone. I can get that now on our computer system. So all that's gone away, as you can see. We've got a brand new pump in there, and right now I'm eking up our flow rates over what they were to see how high I can go with this new pump. And then I'm going to do that, like I talked about when Larry was here, we're going to do an actual pump test to see how high we can go with our flow rates now. So this is kind of the upstairs. Now, the reason I wanted to bring Toby along, because he deserves as much credit as the contractor. See all that cleaning up that's done in there? See all that stuff? Now, you can only see, let's go to the next picture. You can see all that stuff that's stacked.
That look live and lethal.
Danger.
Yeah.
So,
We were just about to call you and have you put your tongue on them to see if they were live.
so I think it's important to understand though that these before pictures are not accurate.
No, this is after he'd done a little work in there already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is when we had the engineers up there.
those are doctored before pictures to make them look better.
We'll look at a few others here. Unfortunate thing is you can't see our electrical store we had up there. So you'll see over there in the corner where me and the electrical engineer are standing. That's looking the other direction from where we were just looking. Unfortunately, you can't see. I didn't have a picture. There's the hole that goes down to the tanks we had. The next picture over, just with some chains around it, which was okay unless you.
Who put the chain up? I don't answer. I know who put the chain up.
Those are legal.
What's that?
Who put the chain up to hold up the ductwork? I know who it was, so.
Chain on the ductwork. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Got so much.
that's
glare, I
legit.
can't see.
And I don't want to say despairing things about the work
No,
that was
no,
being
no.
done. It was just a process. I just want to give you an idea of where we came from to where we got to, and got I think what is a great functioning well now. what you can't see is over in the far picture, the after picture on the far right side, there was a whole wall of basically an electrical store setup. So there was a bunch of shells over there, just makeshift shells with tons and tons of electrical equipment. Toby spent hours cleaning that thing up, getting all that organized. So I wanted him here to get as much credit as a contractor because he did as much work up there cleaning this thing up as they did. And it looks just awesome up there now.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, it's state of the art now. You can do surgery in there.
We needed
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody looks good.
Yeah. And right down in that basement, I didn't get a picture. You can't see the tanks are gone down there. That's now got a big screen TV and a couch and a little mini fridge.
That's where Toby sits, huh?
Yeah. So, over, we've got new panels on the wall. I can do everything from that screen. You see on the one gray panel, that little screen right there, I can do everything to control the well from there. Now we're going to talk about what we want to do next here in a minute.
It's good, but not.
Yeah, it's good. It's not great yet. But we can control everything. I can turn the flow up or down, whatever I want to do. I just put the flow rate I want, and it adjusts the pump to get the flow rate we want. It gives me the well level right there. It gives us our chlorine readings right there.
Oh,
But you have to drive up there to get it. Yeah. Yeah, which is not great. I have to drive up there to make adjustments if I want more flow.
Okay.
We didn't
But-
like
The
him.
stage is set. And
So,
Ted, really quick before you, on that PLC, do we own a copy of that program?
let's talk about that here in a minute. We'll get there. So we'll come
Is there
back to that.
anybody
We'll come
else
back.
that
Good
would like
question.
to-
We'll come back to that question.
Is there anybody else that would like to say anything to make Ted's request that much easier? Well,
That wasn't on, so,
just teasing you,
so
Barry.
that is an emergency plan that you should have all your PLC programs on cloud somewhere and own them yourself and not the company. That is critically important for business continuity. And something that I just thought of when I saw the PLC, it's something we do at my company I implemented and is critical to, that vendor goes away or gets mad at us or whatever, we could lose our water.
Yeah.
If something went wrong.
We'll come back to that. Great question.
Okay,
No, I'm serious. I'm really serious.
Next slide here. This is just a picture of our chlorine room. So that little square box out there, the other side is our chlorine room, but we've now got a finished wall. Meets code. You have to have a window from inside your well into the chlorine room. So we put the window in, did a bunch of cleanup work there. Then we go to the next one. This is down where the actual well is. So the before picture.
We've been down there.
What's that?
We've been down.
Yeah. So you can see to the right, that's all finished now. We've got the new pump in. We put bigger pipe in because we anticipating getting more flow. So we need a bigger pipe. You see the pump in the corner there. That's the one that had been there for a while. And that's the one that's in the well now. So we've got a brand new pump down in there. I think we've got one more generator. So before we kept it protected with tarp, but didn't do a lot of good under tarp. So we've now got the generator actually is all hooked up and running with an automatic transfer switch. So if we lose power, this will automatically kick in and keep our well running. So we'll keep us in water. What I wish I didn't step back far enough to see the tank that's feeding this generator. It's just to the left of it. Big diesel, just to the left of that concrete wall, double wall tank. 1,000 gallon, easy to get to. Truck can pull right up to and fill it and stuff like that. So,
We've got how much in there right now?
You were able to say.
1,000 gallons.
So we filled it up.
So it's full?
That 1,500 gallons that we weren't sure where it went, we found it. And now it's all in that generator.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a few pictures of the well. I'll take anybody on a tour if you're that excited about wells. I forced my wife to go look at it just because I was that excited, and she feigned excitement, which I appreciate.
Right.
Huh? Yeah, yeah. She oohed and on, but yeah. So I just want to give you a summary of where we ended up on the budget of this. So the original amount we asked for the council when we started this project was $1,005,000, $1,005,803 was what we got approved on the project. from the council when we started this. We then decided to remove the road from the agreement with the contractor and pursue that on our own. Saved us 312,000 and some change. We then added a few things during the course of the project. One was getting those fuel tanks out of there and putting a fuel tank outside, one big fuel tank. That first number included the prep of the concrete pad and the generator startup and some things like that. And they went through that generator with a fine tooth comb. We had Cat up there for 2 days testing it, went through everything. They changed out all the filters. They tore the valve cover off and oiled the valves before they started it up. And they went through that thing with a fine tooth comb. So then they did all their testing of it, load testing. So generator works great, and they put a warranty back on it for us. Then we had to also upgrade the fuel line from the new tank into the generator. And then we had to do some electrical grades because the wiring that was there was a little bit undersized, and we didn't know that till we actually pulled it apart, and the breaker and wiring that runs in the VFD was really hot. The electrician said, this is undersized for running here, and we really need to upgrade that. So we upgraded that wire as kind of an additional to what other things we were doing. So we ended up with a total contractor cost of $716,000 and some change. We did buy a few things during the course of the project. One was that fuel tank. We purchased that ourselves that the contractor put in. And then we also took on the road paving ourselves and pulled that out. That so far has cost us $63,000. Their original estimate was $71,000. There's a reason we didn't quite finish it because they still had some electrical underground to do when the paver was up there. So I've talked to the paving company about coming back and finishing that little bit we have left to do, which would probably take us up to about $71,000. So we still have yet that left to do. So the total cost of the project with everything was almost $800,000, $799,000, which was about a little over $200,000 less than what was originally approved by the council. So we were able to save quite a bit of money over the original approval. Then some additional costs we had to pay SESD to upgrade all of our power to three-phase power. We had the engineering that did all the engineering work for it. Total project cost $950,000. We got ARPA money that went towards this project of $180,000. So total cost from our budget about $775,000. That's about what we spent on that project. Now, with that, here comes one thing I would like to ask the council to consider. Since we did a great job during this project,
Here.
we had Toby's labor up there cleaning this well out, which is worth tens of thousands of dollars, the work he put in. We
Might be overselling it. Not that your value isn't that high. I'm just saying, I think we're all hooked.
Yeah. What we started with was, and the way I've explained this in some of our staff meetings to others, what we started with was a project like those of you who grew up in my era when you had to actually pull up to your garage door with your car and get out, go open your garage door, pull your car in, shut it, walk in, turn your TV on, go sit down, jump up, change the channel, go sit down. That's kind of where we started, rabbit ears. Where we're at now is we've got remote controls for all this stuff. Where we want to get to is basically smart technology. So the SCADA company that did the work on the PLC in this project, he was a subcontractor to the contractor. I asked them separately to provide me a cost to upgrade our entire SCADA system. What that would allow us to do, one, is we would get a copy of the program from the PLC. They would become kind of our SCADA people. Two, where I said I had to go up there and still make all the changes on the touch screen, this would put all that information here on my computer, or the computer here in the office, and we can do everything from a computer. Right now, I can get three things out of this system here on my computer. I can get the flow rate, I can get the depth of the well, and I can get I can get the tank level. I don't get chlorine readings. I don't get, I can't control anything from here.
You can't turn it on from here.
Can't turn it on from here. I have to go there and turn it on. I can the boosters, but I can't this one up there. It's because I had limited space in the RTU, which wasn't included with this project. And I know it had limited space to connect stuff to control it to the computer. What I'd like to do is upgrade our entire SCADA system. So I asked the company to give us a cost, the one that did the project for the well, so we could have consistency in who's doing our system. And that would be, they gave me a cost of $49,600. That would give us complete control from the computer of everything. I can visualize everything from the computer and my phone, and even control from my phone or a iPad or laptop or whatever. This doesn't only include the well, but it includes our booster stations. It includes upgrades here to the software at the city office. We did everything in Windows format. Part of it's in DOS now. So this basically gives us a complete upgrade to our SCADA system. So that's what we would like to spend the next little money on, to take this well to completely have a state-of-the-art well. What's that? We're on the 1 yard line. We want to get across the goal line.
So this would still,
Yeah, and that gives us a way to monitor at nights, because right now if I have to change, like the other, it's like Sunday night. Sorry, it was Monday night, a week ago Monday. For some reason, the pump didn't kick on. It got an overcurrent. And so the pump didn't kick on. This was like 10:30 at night. And it sends me a notice on my phone when that stuff happens. So normally I could get on my phone or my iPad right from there and do everything and fix it. I couldn't do that. I actually had to get up at 10:30 at night and go up to the well and shut everything down, restart everything.
But if it was snowing 4 feet, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this just gives us a lot more technology, a lot more control. It helps me. Right now, I've distributed the sleeping at night. You know, the mayor starts to sleep at nights. I lost a little bit of sleep. Now I'm passing that on to Toby. So this would
Well,
give
it
away
rolls
for,
downhill.
yeah. Well, so this, it's antenna. Yeah, it talks through antenna. If we had fiber up there, that'd be cool, but we don't.
don't we have fiber up there?
Up at the well?
Yeah, we've got.
Maybe a way to connect to the fiber. I'm not sure. Right now, everything runs through antennas, which is working fine. Mhm. Right. And they would use the same radio or frequency that we have now, radio frequency that we have now. And it works fine that way. So this just helps us be able to do a lot more and feel better when we leave town and nights and stuff like that. So
Well, I think that the point you raised is,
Yeah.
so we don't
Just an
have a
estimate.
cloud backup to our current system. That alone seems like that would be sufficient justification for this,
Would
right?
this,
Based
does
on-
this
We
include
need
a cloud
copy of the
backup?
program.
what's that?
Does this include a cloud backup? And
Um,
ownership of that data?
Yeah, and they keep it on their system because they're the ones who know how to change
They're
everything.
gonna work on it, but
You actually have to go up there with a laptop with the program on it, and you have to plug in with an Ethernet and an Ethernet port up there in the PLC. And that's how they change the way the screen looks or the way we move buttons around, stuff like that. They'll continue to do that for us as our provider. But we could get a copy of the program from
we
them.
want to maintain our current copy. Anytime they make changes, update our copy, just so we have it as a backup.
And that arrangement is part of this.
Can be. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, getting the software is no cost, really. It's just them uploading it to us. The program, I should
Yeah.
say.
We wouldn't, I'm guessing it's Alan Bradley.
I don't know. Wetco did the project.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'd have to hire another contractor.
I don't think
If
it's
we
Alan
lost that
Bradley.
contract, we're not gonna buy the Alan Bradley software that we can actually do that with a laptop. That's very, very, very expensive. But we want to own it so we could get another contract.
Of course.
So where would you take that money from?
Savings.
Our
Yeah,
savings.
it's already been budgeted. We just wanted to get it before the council so that you could see it and give your stamp of approval.
Even
on
with
it.
that, we'll still come out over $150,000 less than what was originally budgeted for the project or approved by the council.
I'd love to hear. Do you have anything to say, Mark?
So Ted, I 100% agree with what he's talking about, you know, the controls, especially in the winter, knowing what we have. But the question I did have is, how much are we going to be relying on the Broad Hollow tank going forward, and not Broad Hollow, the Maple Canyon tank and the Maple Canyon well? And reason I'm asking that is, do we have any telemetry or any kind of input as to what we've got into that tank, or if there's a challenge or an issue with that tank, would we be aware of it before it became a problem, or do we find out when there is a problem? And if so, is there something we can do while we're doing this to make sure we have good telemetry on that tank?
Yeah. So great question, Mark. So what we have now is we can see the tank level over there. which helps me when I'm looking at our system, because then I can go in and I see, okay, Salem tank level is getting way low. I'm going to shut off the booster and pull more out of our well. And we've been doing that a lot since we've been doing this project. Since that well went down and this well was under grade, I've been on the phone almost daily with Salem, right, adjusting our different ways we're operating the system. But one thing I would like to get to Mark's point, because I think that's a great point, is an alarm. So if the Salem tank gets too low, it alarms me as well as them. So I know, oh shoot, this has got too low. I need to either shut my booster off if my booster's running, which is really the only thing that how it would affect us. The pumps 1,500 gallons a minute, and I can see where their tank level is all the time. I just don't get any alarms out of it, which would be nice. Yeah, I'm sure we could set something up so I would get an alarm to my phone, because right now, if our tank gets, I can set an alarm level at our tank, and when our tank gets at a certain low level, it alarms me. Oh, yeah. Well, I couldn't suffer that pain alone because it keeps alarming at 3 a.m. And I'm like, crap. I finally called the guys the other day and I said, how can I change this? Yeah, I do, because it does. The last week it's been alarming like at 3 a.m. So what I would like to do is get an alarm out of that tank too, or something that says their pump bell, right? So I know that something's gone wrong there and I need to make adjustments maybe on what I'm doing with our system. Yeah.
Okay, well, I really profoundly thank you guys for your efforts here, because I think it's huge, and it's a milestone that I think we've been aiming for a long time. So thanks for all your hard work and doing that, and your professionalism and getting it done. So does the council have any?
This is a multi-generational kind of well project. Corbett got us off the ground, did a fabulous job. There's some really cool innovations on that tank and the way he developed it.
Yeah.
Mark, I know you helped him quite a bit there, so thank you so much for that. And then you guys dragging it across the finish line.
This is just the next progression, what needed to get us there. And so it's, been 7-8 years in the making, but I think we're almost to the finish line, get this SCADA system upgraded, and we're going to have state-of-the-art system.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
See a trend?
Huh?
See a trend going on? These are getting across the finish line.
That's what I want to see it get across the finish.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a trend.
Yeah.
Money, money, money.
Well, these things aren't free.
Well, your choice. You got water, or you can save more money.
Right.
And drink money.
Okay. Well, thanks to the three of you. Well done.
Okay, now Toby, you get to stick around for the rest of this grueling meeting. No.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Toby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Someone just told me to stay here.
Item 12, department update. Public Works and Fire.
I think I've given you all the updates on them. You've heard all the roads and the well stuff. Everything else is going okay with the Public Works.
Tell us about our wildland crew.
On fire side, our wildland crew is on the Monroe Fire still. They've been there for it'll be 2 weeks on Thursday is when they left. They are in a spike camp. I've been getting pictures from Lance, and they are on the fire lines. They're out there back burning and manning hose lines and stuff like that.
Can you explain what a spike camp is?
I know what it is, but you can explain it.
Go ahead.
No, you explain it.
Go ahead.
I don't want to. I just was going to say, can you post the pictures maybe for the community to see some of them, or can you?
Yeah, we can
send them
put.
to
We
us?
can. I can give you some.
If you don't
on
want to post
Facebook.
them, you can send them to me, and I'll get them posted. I'll have Jody or somebody post them.
Yeah, yeah. I've been sending them some of them to some of our fire.
I'm
We
not
have
allowed
our
to
fire app,
post, I
but
guess, right now.
basically it's a tent camp, is what it is.
Oh, that's right. Oh, campaign season.
They're up there on the mountain in a tent camp. Basically, they're taking
No showers.
no showers. They've got baby wipe showers. Is how they shower right now. Yeah.
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 It's kind of
so it's a little bit of a rougher, but that fire has. But I think I mentioned I was down there over the weekend. My in-laws live just outside of Monroe, so we were down there over the weekend, and so I was sitting there watching the whole thing right from their back porch. And Friday night, that thing went from 10,000 acres to 20,000 acres in 24 hours. That thing blew up. Now I'm hearing it's over 30,000 acres, is jumping their fire lines on one side of the fire. So it's going to be going for a little while. But our cruise 2 weeks is up Thursday. They'll probably be back like Friday or Saturday. Then they have to take a mandatory 48 R&R, and then we'll see if they go back to that one. But they're doing great out there. They're right on the front line on this one. So open up the fire. Yeah, big flames, big flames. One of them was a photo op. Lance sent me one picture. The very first picture he sends me is our crew out there digging hand line. But if you look, you see no line before, no line after. So I'm like, was this a photo op hand line? And he's like, yeah, it was a photo op hand line.
But when they were watering the power pole, I meant trees are burning, but they don't need power poles to burn.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
stopping
I'm
fire.
assuming they shut the power off.
Well, I
I'm
assume
guessing,
they-
but I don't know. But
Okay.
yeah, they were protecting some
So
power
smart
lines.
choice of which log to hit is my point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not super close to home, but close enough. I think it would be good to send some pictures.
Yeah, I can
Let's
send you.
get closer.
He sent me a bunch. So, but we're having a heavy wildfire year. I suspect even when they come back, they're not going to sit long again. A lot of crews are out. We've had lots of calls, just our department this year on wildfires. We were on just 3 in the last 24 hours. So it's a pretty heavy year.
I wondered, like, if citizens, if they want to know, I have watch duty. Do you think that's a pretty good one, just kind of for everybody, if you want to kind of watch? Like, somebody posted today that they were nervous because the smoke, they could see the smoke. For me, it's just good because I can look and go, oh, there's nothing close. We're good. You know what I mean? Is that a good one for probably?
That one, Utah Fire Info has a good one too, where you can get on their website and they got a map that shows you all the fires in the state, how big they are and stuff like that. So they're
Okay.
I like the app just because it'll send you notifications.
I just thought if people, say something about being worried, I just wondered if that. It's called Watch Duty. And I thought about posting it on the community page because it's not an official thing, but just some people were concerned about the smoke. And we know it's from the Monroe fire, but maybe so they could look and have some self-assurance and know that there's nothing close.
Yeah.
It is handy because you see every startup.
And then you see when they're contained and the percent containment.
Comes out about when our pages come out.
Yeah.
Pretty good app.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Great.
yeah.
Great
So-
update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. My report and council reports.
Did you want Wayne?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Nothing more? Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you off. All right. Well, personnel, I think that the work speaks for itself. So I'm very thankful for everything that everyone's doing on every level. So
Really have a good crew right now, don't you?
yeah, we do. Agree. Okay. Councilmember Hilliard.
We did have a meeting today. I unfortunately wasn't able to make it because I've got young men's camp the rest of the week, and so I was cramming all of my week's work into yesterday and today.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
vacation killer.
Nothing kills vacation quite like young men's camp.
Uh-uh.
But from what I'm hearing, there was just mostly updates, what other cities were doing, so nothing new that would pertain to Woodland Hills.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Hutchings?
So we've not had a Public Works Committee meeting. We haven't had a Park Trails and Rec Committee meeting. I've asked Ted for some information, but again, we've been working, as I told Sherry, budget and taxes have been, the time that I've had has just been hashing over that, meeting with Ted. It's just been, you guys know how it is. And I missed Planning Commission, but Wayne went over. I was in Lake Powell, so I missed that one. So, don't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kinnison?
Okay, I have two things. If ladies, Jody, I'm looking at you, if you or Lori or somebody wants to be the voice of the sirens, you meet me here at 11:45 this Saturday. And I'll put the mic in your face and you can do the thing. You just read something. Okay?
That's a yes. Oh, she gave a thumbs up.
I saw thumbs up. She's going to be there.
Somebody,
I vote Monica.
Is there a way you can't pre-record?
No, no, it's every time it's live.
So that was one thing Lori and I talked about was could we get someone who could pre-record it? But if
Well,
it's
unless you held a recorder up to the mic each time and played that, but that'd be even worse.
and there's no way we can do a test one to hear it back.
We test once a month, and this is it.
Yes.
And I promise, every time we do it, something else goes wrong. But it's a minor thing, and so we smile and say success. Because everybody hears the sirens. That's what's important.
Yeah, and they should know what the siren means. Maybe that's a good thing for Ted's talk, again, to go over with some of the residents who are new
Yeah.
and moved in.
We
We were just trying to think.
never planned on giving speeches over the, tell instructions. or-
No, if you
that's
hear
never
it,
the purpose.
run. That's the
Okay.
kind of thing we want to tell people.
But are you going to come?
I'm actually out of town this Saturday.
Is anyone else coming?
I can ask Lori
Okay.
if she can.
Okay.
Is there someone that we know of that has a good projection voice that will speak clearly?
Well,
and-
us four boys that are doing it are
Slowly.
so good.
Oh, I know you are. We were just curious. We were like, I wonder if a different voice, a different tone,
So
something like that.
dispatch, back when it was at dispatch, they actually told.
They had a
Greg
recording.
That they found that the men's voice came across better.
Okay.
But it's worth us
But
trying
I'm-
because it's
I'm-
not at
I'm
dispatch.
open.
Yeah,
Who?
I was thinking he's got a great radio voice.
That might be a little too soothing.
Yeah, we want something more alarming.
We want a little more urgency, like run for the hills type.
Right.
Well, not the hills, run for the valley.
Well,
Yeah,
for the test,
hills are a
we
bad
want
idea.
And whoever happens to be here during the real thing is going to get it.
We talked about at one time that the speakers on these sirens are going out.
They're bad.
Yes.
They're
Did
going bad.
any money get placed in this year's budget to
No.
replace
No.
the speakers?
No, we just put the antenna up this year. That was,
I don't know.
I got it running.
I can't remember what Ted got.
We
I
don't
don't
have
know,
any-
but that was just something we
don't
had
have any
talked about.
maintenance money on that.
Okay. Guess we'll save some money
But
from
when
the
Ted
budget
gets that
somehow.
new SCADA water deal, we'll hook it to this too. And
After we get the new brush truck, we'll take some of the fire.
No.
Wow,
Okay.
okay.
Why don't we use some of the wildland money to
But
pay
I-
for new speakers?
I'd like to try one of you ladies this week just to see how.
Okay,
it's
I'll
all.
see if Lori will be in town. I've got a
Okay,
granddaughter's birthday party.
okay.
I'll be out of town
Thank you.
and I'm not allowed.
May-
Wait, then you just end with vote for Janet.
Mayor's wife, mayor's wife would be spectacular. as well.
Absolutely.
It is my 40th wedding anniversary. I won't be here.
No, they want to try female voice, see how it works at our, because we've redone everything, so.
You don't even listen to it anyway.
I will say I lived here a couple of weeks and I didn't know and it all went off and I was calling my kids, the sirens are going off. I didn't know what was going on. It's too bad there's not some way like we could welcome people with a little, just so you know, kind of a thing.
We try to tell them when they come in and set up their utilities, but so many people are doing it online
Oh.
now.
Okay.
Oh,
They'll send in the form via email and then take a payment with a credit card that they don't come in and we don't get to see their lovely faces.
oh,
So
that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, add a little melody
She
to
can
it.
sing it.
Yeah.
That'll work good.
Okay, Doral, you got some options.
okay, well, I'll talk with Lori.
Okay, okay. It'll be yours truly if I don't get any ladies. All right, next thing, now this is kind of important. The Department of Natural Resources, Division of Wildlife, sent Brian and I emails. I thought the mayor gave them our names. So that's why you don't know anything about elk. Okay, so Brian never answered the email. I waited a couple of weeks and I'm sure he was going to do it, but he's a busy guy. And so after the third, I answered and I ended up on a committee.
That's the takeaway.
Well, however, this has been a very interesting committee. 5 people from the DNR, they kind of are running this. And it's an attempt to find solutions for the elk herds. I mean, we've heard the history now. We know about collaring. We know a lot of things that I didn't know before about our elk herds. Our citizens love them. Believe me, I keep hearing about them.
Yeah.
I've even had they've had meetings in our own city, but this is a meeting over 5 cities. All 5 cities send representatives. The representatives are council members, city planners, 3 golf courses. They're there because the elk are destroyed their golf courses. And everything I say is going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Okay, so biologists. We have a guy that lives right in our city that's a BYU biologist, animal biologist. He's there.
I think is that Tim's son?
It's Randy,
Yeah.
very intelligent. He's there. I met him. Sergeant Dutson, I got him invited because they had Spanish Fork police and he hasn't had a lot of elk experience, in his city. So I got Dutson there, and then Dutson invited the lady from Elk Ridge. They're 2 cops. Monica, what's her name?
Monson.
Yeah, she was there. So that was great because Dutson invited her. And Jason Hanks is there because he's a farmer that's really impacted by these elk eating all of his profits. Okay, so we sit in a room, and every time someone comes up with a solution, it hurts one of the other parties. I'm sitting there, okay, make all the golf courses a refuge for the elk. It doesn't fly. You don't say stuff. So DNR has set the rules, and we're in there. We've been in there 5 hours now, meeting on solutions for this. We're going to come out with a plan, a document, and there's a mission statement, and then there's ideas that I'm going to present to the city with the mayor's permission, or at least the document, and you'll see solutions that I got to be positive, but it's so hard of a problem to solve. The elk are not going to have as much room as they used to. So maybe we reduce the population or whatever. There's a lot of things being talked about. So be aware of that. And that's why I'm on it. I didn't go jump into something without your permission.
No, I'm glad. Sergeant Dutson did mention in our staff meeting, and I'm glad that you're there.
He
And
said he threw me under the bus.
I didn't hear it that way.
Okay. No,
I think he was very supportive.
And he was really good to have in the meetings because he knows the policing side, the public problems that wildlife create. But
Does
yeah.
DNR have any money to come up with? I mean, if you come up with solutions, is it all sort of
We're-
locally funded then?
We'll only have solutions that could be funded, with current resources. Yeah, they don't have a lot of money and they only have 10 employees for a great big area. I've learned a lot about DNR, and they could use more money, in my opinion. There's a lot of things they worry about. And our citizens love wildlife,
Yeah.
and so I'm willing to share the document that comes out. We have another meeting the 11th of August, and it should be our last one. It'll be another 2 hours. And we'll fine tune some of the solutions they're coming up with. And I have a working document with me,
But they are coming up with solutions,
yeah,
it sounds like.
yeah, some
Okay.
ideas.
That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah. DNR do not feed animals. They won't let us feed. If you could feed them, you could get them to stay somewhere. But the biologists, they participate and they say if you feed wildlife, they change, ruins them, both mentally and stomach wise. It's a great thing to learn all this stuff. So Brian, you're missing out. But anyway.
I don't know. I don't know how you're going to control an elk. They
Anyway.
put up signs and the freaking things cross anywhere they want.
Well, yeah. Okay, you don't get to come. But I really I'm developing an appreciation for the DNR. Those guys, they feed us dinner every time, and we meet, and they've done all of the work, to get us together. Yeah, I told Dutson I owe him an elk steak. I'm going to get him one from Dan. I think
I've got plenty in the fridge.
I'm going to give him one.
too.
Yeah, that would make a big hit. So he would. because he didn't know about this, and I signed him up with permission from DNR, and they said, yeah, sure.
I don't even know how they got our contact.
I don't either, if
Why
you
did they
didn't give
got
it to him.
I don't remember giving it to
Man,
them.
I don't
but,
know.
maybe I did. I don't know.
Somebody snuck our names on a list. Anyway, I want y'all to know about that, and I think it's a positive thing. I think I care about the elk, so hence I'm interested in what can happen. And we're kind of bleeding into having the deer. I shouldn't use that word, but we're using the deer as problems as well, to kind of talk about that. So, any questions? Or that's enough for now.
Okay, but more to come.
Yeah, right.
Okay, thanks, Doral. Councilmember Lunt.
So Finance Committee, we already talked about that. They were here. We were just talking about the budget. And then communication team, it really is a team. And I appreciate all of you guys being willing to take a monthly assignment. But I think, I really need to thank Wayne and Ted because they don't get to only do 1 month every 6 months. They have to do it every month. And I checked my email today and I've got a Wayne's World in there. And I've got numbers from Sergeant Dutson. So I really appreciate them. They do get me, and Ted is always.
We really got to get our fire.
No, you always do a
What's
great
that?
job. And
We really need to get our fire numbers in there to go with.
yeah, anytime. I am always looking for more content, and if there's anything we can do to improve it, just let me know. Or if there's anything we can do to get it out more. I mean, it goes to everybody's email. It's just, I feel like the way it goes out, I don't even see it half the time. So I don't know.
I mean, it seems that it's going through the channels that those that are interested. I mean, email and social media.
That's kind of probably
those are
all
the
we can
biggies.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if there's anything that you guys want to add to it, more content is always better. And I appreciate everybody that works hard every month.
You should read it over the sirens is what you should do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go, as a test. For the events and volunteers, we're getting closer to Woodland Hills Day. So that'll be my next focus. I've got my boy on his mission and all the summer things are almost over, and then we'll get working hard on, it's all planned and everything. Aaron's on the committee. Going good, right? Everything's under control. So I think we're good there too.
I saw your text to Mark.
Yeah, I'm a little late on that,
financial
but I
assistance.
just had a lot of things and I still do.
They plan on it, so I'm sure that they're happy to.
Yeah, yeah. And I think before I've reached out kind of early, and so we had to wait. So this year I kind of waited. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Well, I think it'll be a good one. So,
Yeah, we're excited.
okay, thank you. Okay, upcoming agenda items. We've already talked about.
One more thing. Carrie apologized. She did tell everybody. I texted her and she responded and just said that she's on vacation and that when we changed our meeting to tonight, she had kind of told everybody she wouldn't be able to be here, but I think we kind of forgot.
Okay.
'Cause
Well, I
I-
figured she was somewhere fun when she texted at 1 a.m. last night. I think I saw something from her. So
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay, well then, yeah, we'll excuse Carrie. Thanks for letting us know. All right, then let's take a break and reconvene at 8:25 for the council meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.